commentators even were talking about is the defensive side of the ball, where the coach made adjustments, and the coach pretty much said, if you don't want to play, we'll get some new people in to play that want to play. The defense executed so much better than in previous games. Right. They were tackling, they weren't tackling the best, but
Young Millionaires Association. Yeah, see that?
All right, guys. Welcome to Sports Talk Friday.
Sports Talk Friday.
Ooh, we got some good. We got to talk about the last week games, the upcoming games. I am Joe Wallace, and this is
Rebecca Wallace.
Guys, if you're on right now for Sports Talk Friday, make sure you like, comment, and
subscribe.
Today's show is brought to you by Masters Credit Consultants, the experts in credit repair, credit restoration, and credit building. So if you're out there and your scores are in the 500s, the 600s, you want to boost those scores up, improve your credit, make sure you contact Masters Credit Consultants at 864-249-9466. That's 864-249-9466. Or you can contact them online at www.masterscredit.com. I got a parrot in the studio somewhere. Guys, also down in the comment section, make sure you hashtag YMA Nation so you can go into our monthly cash drawing. Everybody likes to win free cash. So make sure you free cash, hashtag YMA Nation down in the comment section so you can go into our monthly drawing. Man, that'll be that's coming up in a week, right? We'll be doing October cash drawing.
It rolls around so fast.
Guys. Last thing is in the description. If you scroll down the description, make sure you check out the YMA Mixtape Volume 1. YMA Nation Mixtape Volume 1. Let's talk about some sports.
Are you going to start? Because I know you're just super excited about the Miami game. Okay, just go ahead.
So I kicked it off last week talking about the Miami. And what's interesting, I did say that last week at the end of the show last week, I say it would be amazing if Miami could come and beat a 5-1 team, which we were talking about NC State at the time. And guess what they did on Saturday? They beat NC State.
They did?
1 point. They beat them by 1 point, but they beat them. They beat them.
It doesn't matter how many points you win by in football.
That's right. So they went from being 2-4 to 3-4. I mean, it's not a good record at all, but they are number 55 now. But I am proud of my team, though. They came through on a win. They played hard, too. Some of the things that I'll point out when we talk about our quarterback, Tyler Van Dyke, is the things that we talked about needs to improve. I talked about this last week, right?
Right.
Some of the things that he needs to improve on, and one is his the completion rate.
Right.
So he threw for 25 out of 33, which is an improvement, a huge improvement. That's 75% completion rate. And now you see the results, how it shows in the score, which that was what helped actually like the win. Because out of that, he threw for 4 touchdowns.
Right.
I mean, so I was impressed. I'll say, I think that's across the board. If you give a quarterback time, most quarterbacks with time is going to execute.
Right.
So the pass protection, that did improve on the offensive line. So kudos to them. One thing I'm going to point out was big in the game is when you talk about a player that's consistent, and that's Rambo. That wide receiver, he's going to have one hell of a career when he gets to the NFL. Yep. But that young man is very talented. Not to take away from Tyler Van Dyke, because he did an exceptional job too.
Right.
But Rambo has been consistent as the go-to player every game.
Right.
So he had 9 receptions for 127 yards. That's an average of 14 yards per catch. I mean, that's just, can we get a round of applause? Charleston Rambo, congratulations, good job. I mean, but you see how with all of those factors comes together, you get a win.
Well, I think what's interesting about that game is
I started off checking it every other week, just like most people do. Then it got out of control. I couldn't help myself. I started checking it day after day after day. I didn't realize that I was becoming addicted until my wife said something.
What did she say?
She said, "It's just a credit score, relax."
Are you checking your credit score?
Huh? Hold on.
it had improved from they were getting NC State behind the sticks. They were getting them in third and long situations, which is harder to convert. So the defense really stepped up in that game and played probably their best game of the season.
I agree. And you know what is they won because of the defense. I mean, they won because of offense too. But in the fourth quarter, when it was third, I can't remember how many yards it was, but that stopped on that little side pass, and they stopped that tackle. Soon as he caught it, I said, if he missed this tackle, but he wrapped up, brought him down. So that's what I'm talking about. So good job, Miami. Miami Hurricanes came through on the win.
Good job on the win. Good job on the win.
We still need to work on penalties, though. We had 9 penalties. So, that's one thing. So, I talked about the pass protection last week. They improved on it. Talked about the mistakes. That did improve. The tackling improved. Right. But now, to the Miami Hurricane coaches, since obviously they watched the show and they took the tips from the show.
Right. Thank you for watching.
Yes.
Thank you for watching.
All right, guys. So YMA Nation said that you guys need to focus on this. So let's get out there on the field. So so now the penalties, we got to reduce the penalties.
Gotcha. All right.
Let's talk about Clemson.
Okay. So I was on my soapbox last week. We talked about Clemson. We talked about the deficiencies. We talked about they were going to lose. I said they were going to lose. They did lose. I mean, I said they were going to lose.
It was hard. You talk about Pitt though, right? You playing against Pitt.
Right, but okay, so I'm not gonna give Clemson that hard of a time this week. Okay. So I have some side notes.
Okay.
I won't stay on Clemson long because I want to get to predictions and stuff like that. Okay. So guess what? They pulled DJ out, and they gave Fumachan a chance.
I want to hear this full conversation though.
But
I knew that was cut off. I said,
no, listen. When DJ came back in, his performance
was better. Right.
I think I said that like 5 games ago.
So maybe Clemson coaches needs to watch the YMA Nation podcast.
Because I said sometimes you can't get out of your own head if you're right there in the thick of it.
Right.
And so to go to the sideline and be able to see from a different perspective,
right,
it allows you to say, oh. And it was almost like a light bulb went off because the next drive was a scoring drive. It was a completely different
person out there playing, right?
I mean, it didn't stay that way, but it did give you a glimpse. Now, this is why I'm not beating Clemson up.
Okay.
So, Clemson's attrition this year is crazy. I didn't even realize how bad it was. Like, I knew we had injuries and we had players entering the transfer portal left and right. I didn't know how bad it was. From the beginning of the season or from camp to the beginning into the beginning of the season, Clemson's had 29 players with injuries.
Wow.
Out of those 29 players, 16 are either season-ending injuries or they're players that have entered the transfer portal.
Wow.
16. I mean, you're talking about one full side of the ball, and these aren't like bench players. you're talking about starters.
Right,
You're
starters
talking
and second-string
about
players.
second-string players. They are missing 16 players, and in some of the biggest games, they have been down. So you're talking about they pretty much played freshmen, like for a majority of the season, or at least second-string players that are sophomores. We're a very young team already this year. We lost a lot to the NFL, and some key players like quarterback and things like that. You're talking about pretty much an offensive line that has no experience together, like as a full offensive line. They may have experience from whatever school they came from, whatever high school they came from.
Right.
But you have a very young offensive line. And this past week during Pitt, we just lost our senior offensive lineman, like the most senior offensive lineman.
Dabo understands that, though. Like, I think Clemson
I don't
right
think
now.
fans understand that.
Oh, yeah.
I
But you
don't
didn't
think-
understand that either last week when you was, like, throwing things.
Now, what I don't think makes the difference is when you're in that position, I think the play calling can be better to help assist with the deficiency. Maybe they're play calling and just trying to figure out what's going to work. You know, I don't know because I'm not the coach, but even when you saw the backup quarterback come in, it was a different, you know, he took them down the field. So they have to figure out what works, and it's going to be a tough season. You know, we're just going to have to deal with it. We have a lot of good players that are out for the year, and that's something. And we still have players. You have defensive players that are injured that are still playing. So they're not like season-ending injuries, but they're injuries that are lingering, and it causes an impact on how the players play. So the defense is just trying to make it. The offense is like sophomores and freshmen. I mean, it's just a rebuilding down year.
Rebuilding. Dabo understands that every team goes through. I don't care how many. You can go undefeated for 2 years, 3 years. At some point, you're going to lose key players, and you're going to have to go through that stage where you have to rebuild.
And some teams go through that injury bug, and Clemson is going through that right now too. So it's kind of like a double whammy effect.
Right.
Like if you're rebuilding, but you have some seniority around the players that you're rebuilding with, it makes it easier to rebuild.
Right.
Right. But if you're rebuilding and all of your key pieces that are your seniority are hurt, season-ending injuries, out, not playing this game, and you lose that leadership, then it's really hard. It's harder. So
Right.
you're dealing with two separate things. But that's my soapbox for Clemson. It's going to be a tough year. They play Florida State at home. I think they'll beat Florida State.
I agree.
They need the home fans there. They need the crowd. They need to, they're finally back home after some road games. So it's going to be important that, the fans just stick behind them this year and get through this year. And, next season, we'll be back.
I don't know what to say about the Miami fans. So they gave Manny Diaz a week. Like, you won one. We're going to see what happens.
So Miami has Pitt this week.
Yeah, so that's why I was going to.
Yeah.
Is that they gave him a week, but, you going up against a strong team like Pitt now. And
Yeah.
Pitt right now is 6-1. So I love my hometown. I love my team, Miami. But again, I am a realist.
Yeah.
And Miami beating Pitt. Well, hold on. Let me stop because I did not expect. I said it'd be a good thing if Miami could beat NC State.
The momentum.
The momentum, right.
I want to jump in real quick. Even with Clemson's deficiencies, Clemson was 2 or 3 plays away from beating Pitt because Shipley had a wide open pass that he dropped.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been a touchdown.
Right.
Ross had a pass that would have been a touchdown. There was a lot of opportunity left on that field, and Clemson could have easily been up by 3 touchdowns by halftime.
Yeah.
And so they had an opportunity to beat Pitt, even in the predicament that they're in. I don't count Miami out. I think if their defense comes out and plays like the defense that played against NC State, they may have a
Better.
shot.
No, they're going to have to play
They're going to have to play better
against Pitt. Yeah.
But I think they have a shot. I'm not counting Miami
I'm not
out
counting
of
them
that
out.
game.
You're right. I will take that back. I will not count Miami out of winning. I know it's going to be a tougher game
It will.
than it was last week. But if they could come out, Tyler Van Dyke have to improve on the passes.
Mhm.
And, you know, and one thing too I would say is he have to know when to let that ball go. He can't
Yeah.
sit in the pocket and wait for the pocket to crumble and
Right.
then just try to scramble and throw the ball out somewhere.
Right.
You know, because he just have to like step back, scan the field real quick, not just follow the player. when he
Check
put-
down pass.
Right.
Check down pass.
Yeah, he has to be able to step back real quick, scan the field, and get that ball where it needs to go. He got the receivers, so we'll see how that game turns out.
So I'm gonna
right now number 17.
Yep. So I want to jump in. Like just a couple of highlights from this past week before we move on to predictions.
Okay,
Coastal Carolina loses to App State.
didn't see that.
Penn State loses to Illinois.
Mhm.
So 14-7, and then 8 Oklahoma State loses to Iowa State. So 14-7 and 8 all lose.
Right.
You got the undefeateds dropping and dropping and dropping.
We said it was gonna be a crazy season this year.
Yep. So I think that Oklahoma is still overrated, and I'm going to hold on to that.
Oklahoma number 4 right now.
They
number 4.
struggled with Kansas. Oklahoma struggled with Kansas.
So they play Texas Tech tomorrow, and they're 5-3. So I don't think it's going to be a breeze.
No.
It's going to be a good game.
I think Oklahoma's luck is going to run out
Uh-oh.
soon.
Uh-oh.
Sooner, rather. I mean, they've got lucky the last all year.
Uh-oh.
I think they've had maybe
Uh-oh.
one convincing game.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to touch on Ohio State, so I'm taking Texas Tech for the upset against Oklahoma.
What?
Hey, they're all falling.
Okay.
They got to go sometime.
Okay. They're undefeated. Oklahoma undefeated right now, so I think it's going to be a tough game, but I don't foresee Texas Tech
We'll
take
see.
the win. Ohio State versus Indiana last week. Good job to Ohio State. They're number 5 right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had that one loss, but they're still 6-1, so they're still doing good. But I want to say a super huge kudos to their quarterback. So C.J. Stroud threw for 21 completions out of 28, which was a 75% completion rate. What was even more impressive about that was for 266 yards and 4 touchdowns. So I don't know if someone crumbles. I think Ohio State going to get back into that top 4.
Well, I think they play Penn State this week. So Penn State is not going to be easy. I mean, I know they're coming off of a loss. So they're going to do one of two things. They're going to want to show improve and try to rebound, but they are playing at Ohio State. So I'm
Right.
taking Ohio State in that game, but I think it's going to be close.
Okay. Cincinnati. What do you think about Cincinnati?
They struggled with Navy. Wow.
Right.
They struggled with Navy. And they've been outscoring everybody. They play Tulane. I mean, I'm taking Cincinnati.
Oh, absolutely.
but-
Tulane 1-6.
And then Georgia has Florida. And, Florida gave Alabama a hard time.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think Georgia is just
Too strong of a team right now.
I mean, yeah. So I'm taking Georgia in the game.
I'll
but
take Georgia too.
again, Florida always plays Georgia hard like they play Alabama hard. So it will be interesting to see how that game transpires. Because Kentucky played Georgia close really
Right.
for most of the game. That was a really close game for a majority of the game. Georgia pulled away, but, I mean, it's not like they won excessively like they had been doing. Like that
Right.
was one of their closer games. So it'll be interesting to see what Florida does.
If I was a Florida player or a coach, this would be the game to win. This would be the game to go out there and give 150%
Right.
on. So, like, you know, we didn't have the
Like,
best
this is my
season.
whole focus right here is
We didn't have the
upsetting
best
Georgia.
season right now, but
Yeah.
you know, they're still doing good. They're 4-3. But that win
Outside
over
of Clemson,
Georgia,
Clemson played Georgia hard.
I don't know. That game was just I don't know. That was the most awkward game I've seen this season.
Well,
I-
that's because you had the two top defenses in the country going against one another, and
Clemson is top defense in the country.
Clemson has a very good defense.
Oh,
They're
well, you know,
struggling
they
on
didn't have
offense.
they didn't have the injuries too in their very first
Yeah.
game that they have now.
Yeah.
Alabama have a bye this week, right?
Yes. And then game of the week in my opinion, is going to be the Michigan State game.
You think that's the game of the week?
Two undefeated teams. Michigan's playing really good ball right now. So it's going to be very interested to see that game. That's going to be a really good game. They
Yes, it
always, I mean, it's a rivalry game.
Yeah.
So
Michigan, I don't see
I'm taking Michigan.
State. Like, who have they played this year to hold that
Um,
record? They're not even ranked like in the top 25, are they?
Yeah, that's Michigan and Michigan State. I'm going to tell you right now.
Michigan State is where we're at. They're number
They're
6.
6
They're
and
number
8.
8.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. How did I overlook that?
they're both undefeated.
Yeah, they're
Michigan
number 8.
State schedule, they have played.
No, I got it. I got it in front of me. You're good.
No, I'm talking about their schedule, who they beat.
Yeah. So number 6 played number 8.
Northwestern, Youngstown State, Miami, Nebraska.
So, like, who have they beat, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. They beat Indiana. They beat Nebraska. So we'll see. We'll see. And
One of them is going to leave and not be undefeated anymore. How about that?
one of them's not gonna see. They fall. They fall.
They fall, they fall. Guys, thank you so much.
Yes.
Damn, see how that went by so quick and we were just like hitting it. We talked about Miami. We talked about Clemson. We talked about Coastal Carolina. Well, not really Coastal Carolina, but we talked about Georgia. Georgia's still number 1 right now, holding it down.
Holding it down.
Holding it down. So we should see how that game go against Florida. It ain't going to be easy, so we'll see how that go. Miami versus Pitt. Come on, Miami. Come on. That'd be
See
a
what
game,
happens.
too, to win. That'd be
Yeah.
the game to say, you know, at any game that we need to win right now. We just came off a win. If we can
gotta
knock
keep
Pitt
winning.
off,
Right.
man, that'd be a breaker. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us for Sports Talk Friday. We hit it all. We'll be back on Monday for Wealth Building Monday. We got a really good subject.
Uh-oh.
That's my show, and I can tell you it's going to be a really good subject. It's going to be the top 5 or something. I can't tell you, so you got to
Oh.
log in and watch it. We'll see you on Monday.
With the boss's view, you gotta sacrifice. You wanna move like bosses move.
YMA, Young Millionaires Association. Yeah, see, that's the association. Joe.